Well then, um, that was a beatdown if I've ever seen one. The Milwaukee Bucks come out here and blow out the Atlanta Hawks in Game 2. They tied a series 1-1 and will be heading to Atlanta for Game 3. What can I say about this game? It was all Bucks. The Bucks set the tone early on. They took the lead and they never looked back. They completely dominated the Atlanta Hawks tonight. It was a balanced attack. 25 points from Giannis. It was just a balanced attack everywhere. Drew Holiday, I believe, had 22 points. Middleton, I believe he had 15. It was just a balanced attack. Nearly everyone, I think, all except one player who played in this game, or at least stepped on the court for the Bucks. Nearly all but one scored at some point in this game. Like, it was just a balanced attack all around. This Bucks team came out here and they dominated. I think the biggest difference maker for them as a team was, one, they were hitting their threes, which definitely helped. But two, they finally utilized their size and they focused on dominating the paint. This is a big team. You guys are a big team. You have the advantage in size. The Hawks cannot really keep up with you. They cannot hold you guys in terms of size. You should be dominating the paint. Giannis can get to the paint anytime he wants against this team. So can Drew Holiday. Middleton should be killing these dudes with the mid-range game. I don't see why they like to shoot the amount of threes they shoot. But at the end of the day, they do that. That's just what they do. But tonight, it was a good mix of them just dominating in the paint. Mostly Giannis. I believe he only shot 2 threes in this game, and both of them were in the first half. It was really just him dominating in the paint, doing what he does. Drew Holiday, who hit 2 threes in the first half, but mostly was driving and getting to the paint. Middleton also doing his thing. It was just they were dominating in the paint. That was the biggest difference maker. Also, it had to really deal with the intensity that the Bucks came out and played with tonight. In Game 1, they didn't really have that intensity. It really looked like for the Hawks, they came out with the intensity of this being the conference finals, Game 1 of the conference finals, and they're trying to steal a game on the road. That's the intensity the Hawks came out with. The Bucks kind of came out with the intensity of this being any other game for them that they can handle. I feel like they probably were riding a bit too high off of that Game 7 win because they just came out of a tight, contested Game 7 where it was literally Giannis going up against KD and Middleton coming in the clutch and all this other stuff. It took so much just for them to get to the conference finals. So for them, after dealing with that, I guess they felt they probably could have taken the Hawks. It didn't really matter to them. Maybe they overlooked them a little bit, but the way they came out, the energy they came out with in Game 1 wasn't there. Now, despite that, I still felt like they played good enough to win Game 1, especially Giannis and Drew Holiday. It was really Middleton who played poorly, and the fact that they did a terrible job. Specifically, Drew Holiday did a terrible job guarding Trae Young. That's why he dropped 48 points. Completely different this game. Trae Young had 15 points. In fact, nobody from Collins, none of these guys stood out. Nobody stood out for the Hawks today. All of them had average to subpar games. It wasn't there tonight for the Hawks. It wasn't there. They got dominated through and through. Trae Young was turning the ball over left and right. I believe he had 7 turnovers in the first half. I think as a total for the team in the first half, they had 13. And they did not stop turning the ball over in the second half. It was just a series of turnovers and mistakes for the Hawks. They couldn't capitalize the moments. They couldn't score. And most importantly, they were just getting bullied in the paint. But again, it also has to do with the fact that the Bucks were hitting their threes tonight. And if they're going to hit their threes the way they were hitting them tonight, you're just going to have to live with it. Though, if they continue to dominate in the paint the way they're doing, it's going to be very difficult for Atlanta. The way they guarded, the way they defended Trae Young tonight was beautiful. Drew Holiday definitely did better. The team as a whole definitely did better. They did not give him a lot of lanes to go through because, again, they utilized their size. And because of that, we started to see Trae Young get very passive, which led to the turnovers. So great defense by the Bucks overall. They were doing their thing, man. They were definitely doing their thing. This was just it got bad. It got bad. They had a 32-point lead going into half, and I think the lead got as big as, 39 or 40 points. It was awful. It was awful. Like, we were just watching. I was just watching the third quarter and just thinking, yeah, if they can find a way to get this to like under 15 points, they might have a chance. But with around like 2 to 3 minutes left in the third quarter, I just knew this game's over. They'll probably play like 2 to 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, and then they're just going to rest their starters and get ready for game 3. And that's pretty much what happened. It was one of those games. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough for Atlanta. They got bullied. But then again, we shouldn't necessarily be surprised to see the Bucks play like this, because they should be playing like this. They have the size. They have the advantage. They need to be dominating in the paint. And they have to make sure that they don't give up those lanes for Trae Young to come and drive and get easy baskets. They made sure that didn't happen tonight. And because of that, Trae Young was ineffective, and he started to get very passive. And once Trae Young starts getting very passive, now you can start to disrupt him in those passes, which can lead to turnovers, which is exactly what happened tonight. So we'll see what the Bucks do in terms of game 3. I believe they're going to probably play similar to how they played in game 2 here. However, I'm really hopeful that they don't try to shoot the amount of threes they continue to shoot. Stop shooting so many threes. Tonight, they obviously hit. That's great. But that doesn't guarantee they're going to hit for game 3. Continue to utilize your size. Dominate in the paint. These guys can't hold you. No one on that team can guard Giannis. No one on that team can stop Jrue Holiday from consistently getting to the basket. Middleton has no problem cooking them with the mid-range game. You got your shooters around. Let them do their thing. Just dominate in the paint. You've got the size. And defensively, you should have no problem guarding Trae Young in terms of stopping him from driving and getting to the paint. Now, if he hits his shots in the perimeter, if he's hitting his threes, you live with it. But you have to keep Trae Young on the perimeter. Do not let him drive. If you let him drive, it's going to be tough. It will be a situation like game 1. So the Bucks have to continue to play the way they were playing against Trae Young tonight. They have to continue doing that moving forward. We'll see what happens with that. As for the Hawks, this was a tough loss. This was a very tough loss. The Bucks came out here and just flexed their talent. They came out with the level of energy that you guys couldn't match, and because of that, they managed to take you down hard, and you guys got blown out. But there's nothing to panic. At the end of the day, you accomplished your goal. You guys are the road team. They have home court. All you guys needed to do was steal one game on the road. You were able to do that. You took game 1. That's all you needed. At this point, all you have to do is defend home court. If you defend home court, you're going to win this series and go to the NBA Finals. So Atlanta, the ball's in your court. Games 3 and games 4, they're going to be in your building. Let's see if you guys can turn it around. As for adjustments to make, there's not much adjustments you guys can make defensively in terms of stopping these guys, because again, you're not gonna, besides crowding the paint, because if you can crowd the paint and force Giannis to be a jump shooter, that'll definitely help. That's probably one thing I would say. Try to crowd the paint, but again, it depends on how these guys are hitting their threes. That's the thing, because if they're hitting their threes, then crowding the paint with Giannis isn't gonna work. However, if they're missing their threes, then yeah. So I guess it depends on the tone of the game. So I'd probably say for the most part, at least when defending Giannis, you want to focus on crowding the paint. But if these guys start hitting threes early on, you might want to go away from that. It depends on how the situation's going to go. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult to stop these guys. They have the size advantage. And Giannis just finds a way to get to the basket. Because he's such a freakish athlete, man. He's such a freakish athlete. He's called the Greek Freak for a reason. So it's so difficult to guard him. So it's going to be tough to see how Atlanta makes adjustment for trying to slow down Giannis, as well as Jrue Holiday, who has found himself. He had a terrible series against the Nets, and now he's found himself. So when you're dealing with Giannis, and you got to deal with Jrue Holiday, who's also balling, and then you got Middleton, who's killing you with the mid-range game, it's going to be very difficult. So we'll see. We'll see what the Hawks can do. Offensively, man, guys just got to hit shots. Trae's got to get a little more aggressive. They're not always going to give him the lanes, but he's got to find a way to find a shot. If he's going to have to hit threes, he's going to have to hit threes. But Trae has to be the driving force on offense, and guys just have to hit their shots. But most importantly, you can't turn the ball over the way you guys were turning the ball over in this game. You have got to cut down on the turnovers. That was poor tonight. Cut down on the turnovers. Hit your shots. Make it difficult for Giannis to get to the basket and see what you can come up with. with that being said, we'll see what happens in Game 3 in Atlanta. That is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.